Unless otherwise indicated, Ratchet Book Club is intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion is greatly advised. Welcome to Ratchet Book Club, where we read hood classics and good classics. I'm Derek. Um, so I've decided that going forward, we're just gonna have the discussion about the book limited to once a week. That way, everybody can get theirs in, and we can spend a lot more time discussing those. Because I felt like the discussions that we were having were taking away from the time that we were using to actually read the book. So this may work, it may not. Um, in the last chapter, it was pretty much a Sister Soldier based chapter. Like Winter was there, but it was really just seeing Sister Soldier through Winter's eyes. And it's still really hard to me to picture how somebody can write about themselves through somebody else's eyes. Because you're always going to get a skewed vision no matter what. And this was a completely skewed vision. I just thought that this was trying to make Sister Soldier out to be Mother Teresa um, to the nth degree, and that just irritated me. I don't know what it is, but the further I go into this book, the more it's just like, "Are you serious?" comes to my mind, and so yeah. So now she has been living with Sister Soldier and staying in Doc's brownstone, and Sister Soldier's sister Lauren. They went to a hospital and or to a prison and spoke with uh, women who have AIDS. And even though Sister Soldier was talking nice to them, they still went home and washed their hands because Sister Soldier, I think, has an issue. Also, this was the '90s, so they may not have been quite sure of no, because forget that. Because in 1999, they had already educated folks on that because Magic Johnson was out there educating people on the fact that touching somebody will not give you AIDS. So they went home and took long hot showers and all that kind of stuff. And yeah. Anyhow, if you have any questions or thoughts, again, we'll be talking about them on Sunday. Hit us up, 916-633-1537. By the way, when I say we, I really mean me. It's just a habit. Um, you can email us at wretchedandratchet@gmail.com, or you can just DM us. The Twitter name is Ratchet Book Club. With no further ado, chapter 13. The same evening, she called me into her bedroom. I'd almost been staying here a week, yet I'd never seen it. Now, the bedroom is a place where a girl gets to say who she is. Just by the arrangement of things, you should be able to tell something about the girl that maybe you didn't know. Soldier's bed was round. It had a big circular base and a circular mattress on top. The sheets, blankets, and pillows were expensive. I took her to be freaky, even though that's not how she seemed. But why else would she have a round bed? She had to go out of her way to get it. It must have been a sizable investment. I'm sure she had to go to a catalog or some custom designer to order proper linen and all that. Plus, she took more pride in her bed than she did in her footwear. On the wall, there was a sketch of Soldier. It was accurate because you could tell right away that it was her. The eyes in the dark pencil sketch stood out because they looked even bigger than hers usually did. They were full of sadness. The artist even caught her earrings, big ones, like most ghetto girls rock. "Do you like that picture?" she asked, after I guess I'd been looking at it for too long. "Why do you look so sad?" I asked as if I cared. Well, I was in Paris when that picture was drawn. It was my 21st birthday. I was happy to be traveling, learning, and studying there, but I missed my friends and family. You mean you missed your man? I asked. She laughed a little. Yeah, him too. How old are you now? I pushed that question in. I'm 25. Damn, I thought. She looked younger than that. Lined against the floor were three big black file cabinets. They were completely out of place. If you're trying to set a mood, get your groove on. Why have a banging bed and set in there a set of file cabinets? Next to the file cabinet was another bookcase full with books and papers. What's with all the books? I asked her. Well, the books in the living room are mostly the books I read in college. These books in here are the ones I have to read every day to keep up. Keep up with what? I asked. With what's happening in our community, our world. You know. Seems to me that if you live in your community, you already know what's happening. You don't need no book to tell you. Hell, I could tell you that. Well, these books help you to understand why what is happening. Usually in life, the same things are happening over and over again, in cycles, you know? And if it's not a good cycle, you got to understand it in order to make it stop. But anyway, Soldier said, I called you so we could talk about what's happening with your life. What's happening with your education? I was in school, but my family moved a couple times and you know, that was that. So what are your plans? She asked. Plans? I don't know. Plans for what? What would you like to become? She asked. Rich, I said right away. How do you plan to get rich? I don't know right now, but I'm working on it. I'm asking because I would like to help you do what you want to do. You're a pretty girl. I can tell you're very smart. You're quick on your feet, and you seem very creative, so maybe that's the direction you might want to go in? Creative? I repeated. Yes, I saw how you did Lauren's nails, and your own are so beautiful. Your clothes are always so well coordinated. Now that's a talent. Your hair looks as good, if not better, than I've seen any hairstylists around here do. That's a talent too. So you just need to decide what you want to do and then get started. Otherwise, time will pass you by. You'll look up 5 to 10 years later and you'll have nothing. So what do you think? Soldier asked. Think about what? When are you going to the hospital to see your mother? She asked, changing the subject. Soon, I said, trying to keep it all brief. Well, if you need a ride or anything, we can make a time and take you up there. What hospital is she in exactly? Long Island College Hospital. I shot out quickly. In Brooklyn. It's easy for me to take the train. It's no problem. All right, she said, exhaling like the conversation wasn't going her way. There's a book I have that you could take a look at. She sat on her bed pointing at the book lying on the file cabinet. It was a career guide. If you look through the book, you'll see 1,500 different careers. The good thing about it is the book has a lot of ideas, jobs, and business suggestions that the average person might not even think of. Maybe you'll see something that interests you. Thanks, I said, trying my best to seem like I was into what she was saying. I go to a lot of colleges to speak. I wouldn't mind taking you to see them. College isn't for everybody, but sometimes just taking a trip to one or two of the nice ones will change the way you look at education, yourself, and the world. Can I ask you a question? I asked her. Why do you have change all over your floor? Soldier looked at the quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies she had thrown all over the floor. I'm just sloppy and a little careless about some things. Well, sloppy was the right word. As I'm sizing everything up, I noticed she had more food in the bedroom than in the refrigerator. Half-eaten bags of barbecue chips and a can of onion dip with some of the dip stuck to the outside of the can. She had empty apple juice bottles and half-empty Avion waters. On top of that, she had an exercise bike in the room. Putting two and two together, I figure she eats a family-sized bag of barbecue chips with dip, feels guilty, jumps on the bike, and tries to burn it all off. And why do you have file cabinets in your bedroom? I asked, laughing now. Oh, so maybe you need to be an interior decorator, she kidded me. I'd hire you because I have no sense of all that. Seriously though, I get letters from a lot of people. I keep files on some of the people I work with. I write a lot. I keep copies of everything I mail out. Now, my room might not be in order, but I know every book on my shelf and would know right away if one was missing. I know where every piece of paper in this house is located. It may not seem like it, but there is an organized system to it. I guess it's just a matter of different things being important to different people. I had gotten her on the defense, and now was the perfect time to dip out of this boring little meeting. Here, talk to Boone. Lauren was passing me the phone as soon as I got back in our room. Boone who? You said you wanted to meet somebody. Are you ugly? The deep voice on the phone asked. Are you ugly? I shot back. Nah, I'm just saying though. It don't make no sense for me to drive up there if you ugly. For all I know, Lauren and Sarge could just be setting me up to give them a ride and I ain't playing taxi all night. So just let a nigga know what you look like. What you pushing? I asked. An infinity. Well, you come see for yourself, I challenged him. Alright, but if you're ugly, I'm just pulling off. Whatever, nigga. My arms were folded into one another. I stood on the stoop outside the house with much attitude, waiting for Boom and Sarge to pick us up. Lauren was standing in the middle of the street. Lauren's nigga was called Sarge because he was in the army. He jumped out of the passenger seat all excited and grabbed and squeezed Lauren up. The notorious Boom had one foot in the car, one foot on the ground, and he stood up halfway out the car to check me out. He was light-skinned, with two big dimples in his cheeks and a cleft on his chin. A mad cutie with curly black hair. We smiled at the same time. Ah, shit, he said, throwing his hands in the air. You fine. Come on, get in. We checked an action flick. Don't ask me the title. We was mostly tonguing, filling each other up, and giving each other shotguns with Sarge's bag of weed. When we got tired of buttered popcorn and the real munchie kicked in, Boom said, what's it gonna be? McDonald's or Uno's? Uno's is better, I said quickly. Uno's is pussy, Boom said. So what's up? You gonna give me some pussy, or are we going to McDonald's? We all started laughing. A few mixed drinks, some pizza at Uno's, potato skins and salad, and we was all feeling good. I wasn't worried about shit. Boom's basement was damp and dark. The little lamp he had in the small matchbox house located in Queens didn't even light up the entire room. But I could see the mattress he had on the floor with no sheets. The room Lauren and Sarge went into was only a room because it was divided by a blanket hanging on a string. Before I put my pocketbook down on the ground next to me on the side of the mattress, I could hear Lauren and Sarge ripping off their clothes. The sound of Sarge's belt buckle clicking, the zipper noise, and their heavy breathing got me good and ready. Boom flicked off the light switch and it was pitch black. I liked my lights on, but there was no time for complaining. When Boom found my titties, he started rubbing my nipples between his fingers. At first my body got excited, but he rubbed them so long that they were burning. I turned onto my right side. I moved his hands off my titties saying, suck 'em, suck 'em. He sucked 'em, but it was like he thought they were popsicles, he sucked them so hard. I pushed his head down further so he could eat my pussy. He licked all over my hairs before he could find the inside of me. I heard him trying to spit the pussy hairs caught in his teeth out. When he found the inside of me, he was licking all the wrong places. He wasn't sucking my clitoris, which would have sent me over the top. Come on, baby, just fuck me, I said. That's right, he said, all gassed up on himself like he was doing something. A few pumps, maybe 8, and he was laid out all over my body, tired and finished. Nigga, what? I said. Oh, girl, you know what? He said all cocky like he had just busted me down. Was it in? Don't even play yourself, girl, he said all calm. Was that it? I crawled around the mattress looking for the little lamp. Finally, I fumbled, then found it. I clicked that switch real fast and flipped the lamp over like a flashlight, shining on his dick. That little fucking worm? That's it? You got the nerve to call yourself Boone, I yelled at him. Oh, baby, you missed it. Shit was this big. He held his fingers to a 10-inch stretch. It's just cold in here. So, after I busted a nut, my shit just shriveled up. By this time, Lauren and Sarge's naked bodies had rolled onto the floor. They laughed so hard that Sarge kicked his foot and the curtain wall fell down. Aw, nigga, I knew there had to be something wrong with your ass. Good hair, dimples, all that, and you just a little dick nigga. Take us home, I screamed on him. Lauren couldn't stop apologizing, but she couldn't stop laughing either. I decided I would choose all my days from here on. How I expected her to understand my desires, I don't know. On Sunday, the pressure was on for many reasons. First off, my stash was down to $375. It was the smallest amount of money I had in a long time. I was surrounded by a sense of panic. All I could think about was loot. Several times I caught myself pacing back and forth with various calculations racing through my head. As my pacing got faster and faster, I grew more and more angry. Every plan I would start to cook up would hit a dead end for one reason or another. With Soldier out of the house for the afternoon, and Lauren, who had woke up mad late, in the shower, I began to walk all over the apartment. I looked at everything on the 5th floor. Believe it or not, there was nothing of value that I could see. Maybe the answer was on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th floor. I pictured myself going to the pawn shop with an elephant tusk. I erased that thought. I knew Doc might have some jewelry down there in her apartment or maybe even a strongbox or safe. Now the bottom line was I couldn't carry or crack a safe. It wasn't my line of work. But as my forehead broke out in a small sweat, I was willing to consider anything. Second cause of my tension today was a womanhood meeting. I was itching to bounce. The reality that I had no place to go was pissing me off because I'm not the dependent type. I'll be forced to attend another boring event. Somehow I was hoping that I could make it work for me. The difficulty would be seeing Rashida again, who I was determined to avoid completely. Let's go see Doc, I told Lauren. Nah, you go. I gotta make some calls, she said. Perfect. I went down to strike up a conversation to see what I could see. Doc was on the 1st floor. I heard her moving around behind the 2 wide wooden doors. I knocked softly. There was no response, so I knocked a little harder. How are you doing, Sasha? She said in a pleasant voice, but looking distracted. I was a little bored. Curiosity led me down here to see you. Oh, really? What are we curious about? She asked like I was a preschooler. About what you do. I'm fascinated with the fact that you're a doctor, I said, speaking her language while gassing her up for my plan. I didn't know you were interested in medicine. Yeah, very. I looked past her figure into her office. Well, come on, let me show you around. Now all I had to say was I was interested in medicine. She showed me every slide under a microscope, every test tube, instrument, and even the tables her patients lay down on. She pointed out charts on the wall, breast self-examinations, and pregnancy information. She even asked me, when is the last time you had a checkup? I don't remember, I responded. Well, that doesn't sound good, she said, looking as if she wanted to examine me or something. Well, once you become a young woman like yourself, you need to get regular exams and a pap smear every 6 months. Pap who? Pap smear. It's part of a vaginal examination. We check for any sexually transmitted diseases, cervical cancer, and everything. Since your mom has cancer, you need to be extra careful. She pulled out a long steel tool. It looks worse than it feels, she said. This is the spectrum. It's using a gynecological exam. This is me again. Hi. Sorry, I didn't mean to take y'all out the book. I don't know if this book has typos or if she just didn't know. I'm sure she knew that it's really a speculum, not a spectrum. But I've editors, editors. Don't point that thing at me, I joked, as if it was a gun. This is a serious matter, Sasha. Are you sexually active? I knew the answer to that question would lead me into a trap, so I said, no, not yet. The doctor raised an eyebrow and twisted up her face. She didn't want to call me a liar, but I could tell she didn't believe me either. She walked away as if she was insulted. Opening a small drawer, she pulled out a gang of condoms. All right, even though you ain't sexually active, she said sarcastically. Take these just in case something unexpected pops up. And if I wanted an exam, how much would it cost? Do you have coverage? She asked. Not right now. What will it run me? Well, usually it'll be $150. But since you're a house guest, I'd be willing to examine you at no charge. You paid our lab fees. I'll think about it, I said. Don't wait too long, she said, with the serious concern I had grown to hate. Talking to Doc for a half hour had given me more useful information than 8 days with the upstairs duo. I had peeped the strong box where I was sure Doc kept her money. I had figured even on a bad day she had at least 2 patients who each paid her $150 in cash. Depending on what day she goes to the bank and whether or not she goes every week, there could be a minimum of $1,500 weekly or $3,000 every 2 weeks in that locked box. I would watch her carefully, get to know her. I wouldn't be satisfied until I was able to see what kind of treasure she had on each floor of this castle. After all, she pushed the bins. She paid the bills, so what was I wasting my time with the other two for? Right away, I understood why Lauren said she went to the womanhood meetings for the laughs. As a gazillion chicks with an assortment of bad taste spilled into the room on a Sunday night, I bugged at the whole scene. Girls with turbans on like they were straight out of the desert. Girls with ashy feet and ashy elbows. A bunch of fake jewelry, cheap shoes, and bald heads. I couldn't believe that these girls couldn't understand that the real problem was that they had no style. How you gonna be a female with a head full of unkempt nappy hair or fade like a man? Now they didn't all look the same, but they all looked busted. Some of them were young, like 15. Some of them seemed as old as 35 or 40. Now I'm thinking if you're 40 years old getting advice from a 25-year-old, you might as well hang it up. A wave of young girls came in 10 minutes later. They were regular block girls. What a combination. Everybody stood around, eating cheese and crackers, celery sticks, carrots, dip, and other kind of rabbit food. When Soldier came out of her room in the back, they all got quiet like she was Confucius or Kung Fu or something. When she sat down, they all sat down, like dummies. I spotted Rashida's pitiful ass and bounced my eyes in the other direction. Determined to get my attention, she picked her chair up and moved it to where I was, squeezing herself into a small space. How's it going? She asked, all over excited. I held my finger to my mouth. Shh, I said, like I was really interested in the meeting. Soldier started talking. Well, the purpose is for us as women, especially young women, to come together, learn from each other, and prepare for our future. If we plan well, we'll be in control of our lives instead of being controlled for the rest of our lives. Hopefully, all of us can improve the way we think and the things we do as a result of how we think. Then Soldier gave out a book list. This is a list of the books we'll be reading for this class. I'd say that's when she lost me and about half the girls in here. When we looked at the list of 10 books to be read over a period of 1 year, we were like, she's crazy. We didn't have to say it to one another. It was a silent agreement. One of the girls couldn't take the silence, so she blurted out and said, "Well, it seems to me like the main issue is money. I came here to get with some other women like myself who want to get paid. We can get parties, do bus rides, all that shit. Once everybody gets a little bit of money in their pocket, then all of us will feel a little better." Then Soldier moved to shut her down, even though half of us could feel what the female was kicking. "Money's important, no doubt," Soldier said, "but there's some business we need to take care of before money comes into the equation." "Like what?" the girl with the ideas asked. "Like, how are we going to have a business together when we don't even like each other? How are we going to trust each other when we don't even know each other? Think about it. When you first came in this room and you looked at the other females in the room, what kind of things were you thinking? I'm willing to bet the majority of females here had a bunch of negative thoughts about the other females in this room." Everybody let go a nervous chuckle, but the big girl with the ideas was not convinced. She said, "Business is not personal. I could go on a bus ride with 50 people. I don't care if I like them or not if the price is right." Some girls nodded their approval. "Yeah, you could do that," Soldier said, "but it wouldn't mean anything. The reason why I open my place for these meetings is so we can do something meaningful, something dramatically different from what goes in our community from day to day. Everybody thinks it's all about those Benjamins. But if every black person in the ghetto received $1,000 cash in the mail tomorrow, what would happen?" Most people got excited at that thought. A bunch of side conversations about what people would do with their thousand jumped off. "Exactly," Soldier said. "In 1 week, 90% of our people will be broke. The money is spent on overpriced jewelry, clothes, liquor, food, and crack." Everybody started laughing. "True," someone said. "Now, if we could work on who we are, what we stand for, getting to know each other, and what we believe, then we can make better decisions. For example, if everyone in here received $1,000 each and we believed in unity, we could have $50,000 to buy a piece of property or put a down payment on a house, or we could open up a business and all become shareholders. It'll be hard work, but at the end of the day, it will mean so much more." People got quiet as they thought about it. "She's slick," I thought to myself. I watched as she turned everything around the way she wanted it to be. The girls in the room got sucked into her hustle. Meanwhile, I'm thinking how all the girls in the room were basically broke. Most of them took the train to get here. Meanwhile, Soldier was chilling in this mansion with full access to the bins. I was waiting for her to pass around the basket for everybody to make a donation to her personal treasury. Then she had us go around in a circle. "Say your name and state what you believe." "My name is Tashay," the first girl said. "And what do you mean by what I believe?" "Do you believe in something? Anything?" Soldier asked, but the girl's face was blank. "Are you, say, a Muslim, Christian, Jewish, 5%er? The girl didn't say anything. "Do you believe in God, for example?" Soldier asked. "Everybody believes in God," the girl said. The next girl said her name was Kim. She's a Christian. "Do you believe in premarital sex?" Soldier quizzed her. The girl laughed. "Well, everybody has sex. Nothing wrong with that, is it?" "I'm not here to judge," Soldier said. "We're just listening to what you believe." "My name is Phoenix," the next girl said. "I'm not trying to impress nobody, and I don't know what I believe." "What do you live for?" Soldier asked. "What do you mean?" Phoenix asked. "What makes your life for you worth living?" The girl looked uncomfortable and she didn't answer. "Okay, what's so important to you that you will risk your life for it? Fight for it? Die for it?" "My daughter. I'll do anything for her. I'm a dancer. Sometimes people have a lot to say about that, but I don't care. I gotta feed my daughter." "What kind of dancer are you?" "In a club." "What club?" "The Silk Den." "That's a strip club," another girl blurted out. Phoenix rolled her eyes at her. Yeah, and what? You got something to say? I bring home 300 to 500 a night. How much you make? The girl with the big mouth didn't say nothing. How old is your daughter? The soldier asked. 1. Do you need $300 a night to feed your 1-year-old daughter? Oh, snap, the girl with the big mouth said. Phoenix didn't answer. I'm not trying to play you. I'm just asking that in introducing ourselves we be as honest as possible. If you strip because you like to strip, or because you like to have a lot of money in your pocket, or because you have a habit, then say that. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in, but I am here to say that if you don't know what you believe in, everything else in your life will be confused. Knowing what you believe lays a foundation for your life. Then you can have principles and ideas that you follow, things that you're unwilling to compromise. If you're deciding what you believe every day and every day you believe something else, you have nothing to look forward to but chaos. I want to look nice, Phoenix said confidently after a short pause. Nothing wrong with that, is there? It depends on what you're willing to do to look nice. Are you willing to let strangers fill you up at a bar? Are you willing to do a lap dance in a string? Are you willing to suck a dick for a new dress? I don't do all that, Phoenix said. A lot of women do. Then they think the new dress is going to make them feel better. It won't. A new dress might make you look better, but that's it. One by one, she knocked them down like bowling pins. She had an answer for everyone about everything. I could tell she had sat and thought up these responses. She said she was doing it to help. Somehow people couldn't figure out whether she was helping or just getting off on herself. After a while, it didn't matter. There was one girl left before my turn. Suddenly, I felt the need to pee. I tiptoed off down the corridor and stayed locked in the bathroom long enough to stick my head out the window to get some fresh air. By midweek, I had successfully explored the entire house. For a surgeon, the doctor wasn't so hard to figure out. Just showing a little interest got her to spill her guts. At night, after hours, she was easy to talk to. At the time when any other one would be chilling with their man, she would be on any of the 4 floors that are exclusively hers with all the finest stuff in the world, but no mate. It wasn't long before I put it all together. 4 years in one college, 4 years in another college, 2 years working around the clock in the hospital with no pay, then back to college and then certification for this and that. She was a medical doctor, a gynecologist, and a surgeon. By the time she looked up 12 to 15 years later, everybody was all paired off. All she got was a bunch of degrees. She could fix people's bodies and brains, but she couldn't repair her personal life. I wasn't going to make that mistake. So, when 8 Mile first came out, the movie, Eminem's movie, I was really impressed by the way that the battle scene at the end of the movie. Maybe not the beginning, maybe not even the whole movie. Like the movie kind of sucked, but the end battle scene had me like, oh, that's so dope. Oh, whatever. Oh, the way he took them dudes down, especially when he got to Papa Doc, or he got to whatever the other nigga's name was that wore the tank top, Lotto. He had great response for them. And I was like, oh shit, that was so dope. He took them out, man. Did you see how he did Lotto? He flipped that whole thing on him and blah, 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 or whatever. And then it dawned on me. The reason why he was able to have a great response for him, the reason why he was able to freestyle such a great response for him is because he wasn't fucking freestyling. He wrote what they were going to say to him. So then he could write the perfect response back to them. That would make him look like he was doper than they were. Same thing just happened in this book. Sister Soldier is writing the responses. She's also writing the questions. So she's able to make the responses to these questions, but in her making these responses, she looks real vapid. First of all, I know that it's 1999 when this book came out, and now it's 2021 and things have changed, but damn, saying the word female that many times made me cringe. It's just a me thing, I guess, but it's not. If females and she's breaking down what everybody's doing, she's talking about if you know, This is Soldier's opportunity to uh, talk about her life versus everybody else's life. How she just hits different, you know. To go back to the beginning of the chapter and how she hits different is, why do you have file cabinets in your room? Oh, it's because I get a lot of letters from a lot of people, and I write a lot, and I keep copies of everything that I mail out. And my room might be sloppy. I'll give you that because I wrote this book, so I'm able to say in a way to make me look normal that I have barbecue chip cans on the ground and cans of onion dip and maybe some bottles of apple juice. But you know what else? I write to people and I keep copies of everything I write, and I know where everything is in this house, and I have a great memory, and I'm fucking Professor X. And respect me. I might look like this, but at least my mind is like this. I might wear skips, but I got all these books and I read them and I know about the world. And you don't know about the world, Winter. What do you know about the world? What did you know about the world when you were fucking 17? Seriously. Oh, and it was real cute how she said, I'm 25. And Winter's like, oh, she looked younger. How old? What? How old do you want people to think you are? Like, okay, I understand. I know the magic and allure of black women and their everlasting beauty, just everlasting beauty. But damn, really, you write it? When you write it, it hits different. And you know what? You saying that I know where every piece of paper in this house is located when you're not allowed to go below the fifth floor, as far as I know. Yeah. So anyway, after she talks with Winter and she's like, "This is how I live my life, and this is what I believe in, and these are my papers and my books, and why don't you care about what goes on in the outside world?" And Winter's like, "I know my community, so why do I need to read books to know about my community? It's right outside my house," which makes sense and definitely makes sense to a 17-year-old. We get to meet Boom, who is a nigga who literally has an infinity. Now, an Infinity Q45 at that point in time probably cost about 50 G's. No, I'll take that back. An Infinity Q45 probably cost 35 G's back in that day and age. This nigga got an Infinity and he's like, "You better not be ugly." And she's like, "I'm not ugly." And he's like, "If you ugly, I'm pulling off." Which is, it made me laugh in my mind because I thought about niggas who fall in love with voices over the phone and all that, which is, cool. They made a show out of that now, that whole blind date thing or whatever, where people got married at first sight or whatever. I don't know. No, it's a whole thing. It's on Netflix. They talk through a wall till they fall in love. The black woman and the white dude got married and they're still in love. Um, you better not be ugly. So he pulls up in his Q45 and he's light skinned with curly hair. Every nigga that Winter seems to like is light skinned with curly hair. And I just kind of sort of want to go back to the first chapter, maybe. Let me see. Moms, moms, Santiago. I want to see if she talks about what Santiago looks like. Because I am figuring that this nigga is a curly haired, light skinned nigga. And I can't really remember. Um, okay, I found it. He spoke softly, with deep seriousness. He was light skinned, tall, with curly black hair and a fine thin mustache to match. Yeah, she's got a type. She's chasing her father. So, anyways, Boom pulls up, and he was light skinned with two big dimples in his cheeks and a cleft in his chin. And so there it is. Boom has this Infinity, which are such beautiful cars. I'll give him that. But he also has a dank ass basement that he lives in New York, with a mattress on the ground and a clothesline across the middle of the room with a sheet to indicate a curtain that he and his roommate, I guess Sarge, live in two separate areas, and that's where they get they get they freak on. It's where they get they fuck on at, I guess. I don't know if they live there. They didn't indicate. Oh, and boom, for all of his beautiful cars and his curly hair and his light skin and everything, has a little dick, which I guess means he's overcompensating for the car or for his dick with the car. And then he's talking about he got cold, but it was like 10 inches when it was hard, and he don't know where to go to. He doesn't know to suck on the clitoris. He doesn't know how to do any of the things that actually please a woman. But he has all the things that'll aesthetically please a woman. I see you, soldier. I see you. Anyhow, so the thing is, Winter is in this womanhood meeting with women who may not have, but they have more than she does. Like, she has $350 left to her name because she keeps spending money to front like she has money. But she doesn't have money. She's just fronting and actually plotting to rob Doc, who's doing her a great service. Now, I don't like Soldier, but it's actually obvious that Doc is doing a great service to Winter by letting her stay there, and they don't even know her real fucking name. But these girls come over, and they're having a conversation. And before we get to that, here's something that I took a note of that I thought was really interesting. I'm gonna read this. Second cause of my attention today was the womanhood meeting. I was itching to bounce. The reality that I had no place to go is pissing me off because I'm not the dependent type. Now that's funny to me because Winter is actually one of the most dependent people that I've read about in any book ever. Her being a kid is the first reason why. But then the fact that she's always lived with her dad, who's taking care of her every want and need. And when she got out into the streets, the first thing she did was have to live with her aunt after trying to hustle her way through it. And every place she's gone to, she had to depend on something, whether it was her mom, her aunt, the system, stealing, or whatever it may be. She is not independent in the least. Now she's 17. And 17-year-olds tend to think themselves independent when they're really not. They're really tethered to something. But that leash is let out far enough to where they feel like they're independent, or they feel like they got independent thought. And that's cool. You know, same thing with my kids. It's like, yo, y'all want to go, you go. Just be back by this time. Here's the tether. Be back by this time. Go. Can I borrow some money? Yep. That's probably exactly what Winter used to do. Can I borrow some money, Daddy? Sure, here's 300. Tethered. She never asked for mom because her mom didn't have a job because that's the way the soldier wanted it. But yeah, that amused me. What saddened me was the fact that Winter's mom never actually told her about the gynecologist, never told her about pap smears, never told her about a speculum or anything like that, never told her about exams or cervical cancer or breast cancer or anything like that. So Winter's probably lost in that regard, and I'm thinking about what she would do to teach her kids going forward because she doesn't know. And if she doesn't know, then how would she know? So when Doc tells her, she's like, oh, okay. And she's really not listening to Doc because she's really just trying to find out how much Doc makes per examination. I thought for a second that Winter was actually going to get in with Doc and you know, want to have this conversation and get the checkup and get you closer to her and settle. Nope. Just a robber. That's the only reason why I want to get to know people, so I can rob them. Soldier comes into the womanhood meeting, and she's talking to everybody about how she gives them a list of books, and they're like reading 10 books in a year. I try and read a book, you know, a week, maybe a book a day, depending on how good the book is. But there are some folks who don't like to read, which I understand. That's why I'm doing Ratchet Book Club. Not for y'all, but for y'all. And for you. But, you know, some of these folks don't read, and that's cool. So, Soldier's taking that to mean that if you don't read, you're not smart. And that irritates me. It'll never stop irritating me. Some of the smartest folks I know don't read. They don't have time. It's not on their list of things to do. It doesn't make them less intelligent than you are. That's like saying because I went to college, I'm better than you. Because I went to college, I'm smarter than you are. That's not always true. Soldier comes through and she's tearing everybody down while they talking. Like, yo, one girl had an idea like, I just want to get people together so we can do a party bus and get paid, which they can do. The soldier's like, well, money's important, but what happens if you don't have trust in the person you have a business with? What happens if you don't even like the person you have a business with? Which makes sense. But at the same time, the girl's like, I don't need to like them to be on a bus with them and get paid, which again makes sense. You don't like your coworkers all the time. You don't know your coworkers all the time, but you can still work with them to get money. If money is your prevalent ideal, if money is what you need more than anything else, you're willing to push things aside in order to get that loot. And not everybody's going to be a sociopath like Winter is, so it's going to work out. But, Soldier went back to that old idea that you see a lot on Twitter now. If you had $1,000, you'd be broke tomorrow. Meanwhile, if I had $1,000, I'd have $150,000 by the end of the year because I know how to invest. Some of y'all niggas would pay $8 million or some of y'all niggas would take $8 million from Jay-Z, but instead, I'd have lunch with Jay-Z and learn how to make $8 million. Like, what the fuck? Y'all niggas, y'all get on my nerves. And that's coming from somebody who's actually looking into the stock market and all that, but y'all are still pretentious. That's it. Sister Soldier's pretentious. Talking about in 1 week, you take that 1,000 and 90% of our people will be broke. The money would be spent on overpriced jewelry, clothes, liquor, food, and crack. And that is not their fault. I know how to do cursive. I'm really fucking good at it. Like I could do beautiful shit. I'm not as good as my homegirl Shantae, who has this company she should make called Calligraphical Hate, but I can do cursive pretty good. My kids have never been in a class where they've been asked to learn how to write cursive. They haven't. Am I supposed to lord it over them because they don't know how to do cursive? Am I supposed to say, you uneducated bores, you don't know how to do cursive? How dare you? What are they teaching in your school? If I asked you to do this, 95% of y'all niggas wouldn't know how to do it because you don't know how to do cursive. Or should I just teach them? I've always felt a way about teachers who teach by diminishing or disrespecting or being rude or being mean. And right now, with Sister Soldier saying, if y'all had this money, y'all gonna listen to what I have to say. But I'm gonna put it like this: if y'all had this money, you spend it on crack. You spend it on jewelry, liquor. You'd have the nerve to spend some of it on food. How dare you? And then she talks to these girls, and strangely enough, the one girl she has a full conversation with, where she's probably going to change the girl's life, is Phoenix, the bird who dies and is reborn again, more beautiful than before. The person who goes up in flames when they die, the bird. Y'all don't see what I see. Phoenix is a stripper. She has a 1-year-old daughter. She strips. She's a sex worker. She makes $300 a night. Soldier's like, does your daughter need $300 a night? Can your daughter eat with $1 a night? Why does she need $300 a night? Well, you know who else makes $300 a night? Fucking stockbrokers. Fucking CEOs make more than that. Do they need all that money a night? Are you wondering about why they got all that money a night? No. There's this video that, again, I'm going to urge y'all to listen to and watch, and it is in the show notes. It's called The Coldest Winter Ever, Sister Soldier, and Urban Lit. And it's made by Intellectual Media. And y'all need to watch it. She goes deep, much deeper than I can go. But the bottom line is, Sister Soldier saying that the money that you make from stripping isn't as good as the money you will make being in the stock market, even though it's the same goddamn money. Which is really highfalutin, if you ask me. I don't respect your money because I don't respect the way that you made it, but I respect this money because I want to make mine the way that they make it. It's not fair. Unless you're out there doing something illegal, I can respect any way that you're making your money. If you're washing dishes, if you're washing windows, if you're selling stock trades, if you're doing HVAC, if you're stripping, if you're a sex worker, which should be legal, by the way. If you're doing anything to make money and it's legal, I am there with you. Meanwhile, Sister Soldier's got this bully platform of a book, and she decided to take the last few chapters to tell you why what you're doing is wrong. Do you need $300 to feed your daughter? No, but I need $300 to keep her in a fucking house. This is New York. I need at least $300 a day, which comes out to about $1,500 a week, and then that comes out to about 6,000 a month in New York to get a spot. Yeah, she needs to get 300 a day. Fuck you, soldier, for that. That's fucked up. Talking about if you don't know what you believe in, everything else in your life will be confused. I don't know what you believe in, soldier, but it's wrong. You can't uplift people by tearing them down. It doesn't work that way. I was just telling somebody that a few days ago. The person they were talking to made a mistake, and instead of talking to them about it slowly, gently, and letting them know how they could improve, they just started to get on their helmet and yell at them. Like, you ain't gonna get them to your side. That ain't how this works. And I was reading this thing where they were talking about how certain coaches, mostly black coaches, are better skilled to be coaches than their white counterparts because black coaches have faced such horrible situations, whether racial, whether just being diminished, yelled at, whatever it may be, that they don't want to take that back to their kids. And I'm not talking about just like sports. I'm talking about mental health. I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about parenting. I'm talking about teaching. All of these things, the black folks tend to be better at being nurturing towards their audience because they know how it feels to not be nurtured. Sister Soldier doesn't know how it feels to not be nurtured. Or she's seen some shit. And I know she's seen some shit because I saw the video that I'm urging her to watch. But at the same time, she should be ashamed of herself. She got Phoenix saying, I want to look nice. Instead of her saying, bitch, I just need the money. Why are you asking me why I need the money? Just because everybody gives you cash and you live in a mansion that's not yours. It's not yours. The situation that you're in is not the same situation that I'm in. This is not your stuff. At least my stuff is mine. Are you willing to suck a dick for $300? I don't let nobody suck. I don't suck no dicks. How do you equate a stripper to what? What? You know what? You have gone a long way to make me denigrate me, to denigrate what I do. That's what I would have said if I was Phoenix. You've gone a long way. That's a long walk. I feed my daughter. I clothe my daughter. I house my daughter. I take care of myself. And I don't need to take no shit from you. That's it. Move on to the next person. Somebody snuck off to the bathroom. You should probably check them out. So again, y'all, gonna do the messages and ideas and all that kind of stuff. I might do a live Zoom, or not a Zoom, but a Zoom or a Facebook live to discuss the responses that I've been getting and the voicemails and everything. Haven't really decided yet, but that'll be on Sunday. Yeah. So thank y'all so much for checking me out. Again, if you have any thoughts about the chapter or what I had to say about the chapter, you can leave a voicemail in 916-633-1537. You can email us at wretchedandrachet@gmail.com. You can send a DM on our Twitter page, which is Ratchet Book Club. Yeah. Oh, wherever you listen to the podcast at, please leave a review. Let me know where you're leaving a review at, so then, I can see it. Right now, I think we got like 4 reviews on iTunes, which is cool, but, more is always better. I feel like winter. I hope y'all are enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. We are 54% of the way done with this book. So, yeah. Thank y'all so much for listening. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.
The intro and outro to Ratchet Book Club is by That Kid Garan, and it's called Goodbyes. You can email him at tkgbeats94@gmail.com for more information on how to lease this beat.
This is Single Simulcast.